I
make
was
sure you guys get the
the
value.
videos that you have, like for the yesterday session, and I was just wondering what the editors you would recommend would be.
Yeah, so we have a private editor you guys can access in our premium community. Um, but an easy way to do it is going on Fiverr and paying someone literally like $20 to edit your videos,
Are
right?
there that you would recommend on Fiverr?
Not that I'm not anyone specifically, again, because we use like a dedicated one. But the talent is pretty good in Fiverr. I mean, obviously it goes up, if you pay like $50 as opposed to 20, but there's no one specifically, but I'm sure you can find someone that's pretty good.
Is there any editing software you would recommend using?
Good question. Great question, actually. For quick edits, I should put that in the course actually. For quick edits, I use CapCut because you can use their AI technology just to do like overlay text. So, have you ever used that before, Rena? Or no?
Yes.
Oh, you
Yes.
have? Okay. Yeah. I guess for the sake of this video, I'll just show you uh like something. Can you guys see my Instagram? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's something quick like this I made on CapCut. You know what I mean? Simple, easy. And to be very honest with you, right? I believe, not believe, what is recommended is you guys having multiple different types of content frameworks. So it could be professional video, it could be iPhone quality, or it could be, I'm assuming you're on a computer right now, could be that too, as well. Right. So that way, there's a good content mix, and there's something to be had about like what's called banner blindness, if you know what that is.
No.
Yeah, it's if they perceive it as an ad, they'll most likely scroll away. Right. So that's why we have a good mix. Make sense?
Mhm.
Cool beans. Any last questions before we dive into it?
I'll go for it.
Cool. All right. So a little um some ops stuff here. If you haven't booked your clinic ads review call, please do so. My team and I will just assess what's going on and make some recommendations. You get that for free being a part of this community. I encourage you to use it, right? Because again, from yesterday, if it was as simple as just being on video, everyone would be a YouTuber. So we're just here to help, right? So if you haven't already, go ahead and use that link. I already pasted it in the comments. Um, but let's go ahead and get started. Can you guys see school?
Yes.
Cool. So today we're going to talk about day 2 of the 5-day challenge. And when you log into school, you guys already have access to day 2, right, in full. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the 4 main blockers that every clinic has. And once you eliminate one, that's when growth happens. If you address all 4, that's when exponential growth happens. Yeah. We're going to talk about what the authority funnel framework is, and how we utilize these pieces of content to uh, attract affluent clients with discretionary income and sell them on our services before we say the price. And I always like to leave with like an actionable step. So the homework, I'm just going to plant the seed now, is for you guys to script these videos and that I'm going to give you in terms of like a content plan, a mini version for you guys to execute. Yeah.
Okay.
All righty. So the 4 main blockers of every clinic, right? Or that's stopping clinics growth. So I've personally worked with hundreds of medical aesthetic practice owners, in that a lot of doctors, right? And you know, what I noticed, there was like four main things blocking their growth, right? And it was weak offers and pricing, poor converting funnel, a bad sales system, and lack of traffic. I'm going to plant another seed here, right? If everything stayed the same at your clinic, just think about your own sales conversion ratios and all that stuff, right? If everything stayed the same, but you doubled traffic, you've effectively doubled your sales. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Right. So just wanted to start off with that. So the impact of these four blockers is, you know, I've seen people like exponentially grow to new heights, right? So if you're at 10K, could potentially get you to 80K. If you're at 30K, potentially get you to 240K, right? And so on and so forth. Uh, even us, like we implemented elements fairly quickly on, and we scaled very aggressively in 1 year, right? Um, but this is what happens when we fix each individual one, right? So going back to this image right here, and I'm going to say this, if you guys have any questions, feel free to pause and interrupt. I believe in community, not, you know what I mean? So not a course by any means, community, so feel free. If we fix weak offers and pricing, we have an offer so good that our dream clients feel not smart saying no. It's a nicer way to put it than the other alternative, the other S word. Yeah. um, and when we fix weak offers and pricing, and if you guys remember from the first day, right? Part of the offer is you guys, right? And I know that's a tough concept to grasp, but truthfully, you are part of that offer, right? And if we execute this effectively and correctly, patients and clients feel like we are the only solution to reach their aesthetic goals. And even when they come in, some clients have communicated to me that they have said that, hey, if we feel like we know you, you know what I mean, through this authority funnel pieces of content. So I can't stress this enough, right? You are part of that offer. So going back to day one, communicating your story, your unique mechanism, the way that you do things, and to really acknowledge that I shouldn't diminish my own worth. We're notorious for that. And I'm talking just business owners in general. Yeah. We're just notorious for that. So the second we start to, tell our story is when we, not only do we deliver better results because it's repetition, you know what I mean? It hammers into our clients' heads. But we want to do the best work, right? So we want to tell them, right? And how do we get the best work from our clients is if they understand our value, they know what's going on. And it should be very evident here where I'm repeating myself on a lot of these things, right? Because once you fix these things, you can exponentially grow too. Yeah. If we fix a poor converting funnel, we decrease marketing costs, right? Cost per lead, cost per booked appointment, right? I should put the cost of acquisition here because that's also a part of it. We attract more affluent clients and more people are pre-sold on our services before we say the price, right? So think about the elements from day one, like the the bonus skincare PDF, right? That example that I gave yesterday would be part of helping a poor converting funnel, right? If we fix a bad sales system, we get more qualified leads, right? A lead, guys, is just someone that we can communicate with. We just have their contact information. It drives me up a wall when it's like, oh, I want to get qualified. I want to get qualified leads. It's like, yeah, you and everyone else. You know what I mean? You and everyone else. You know how we qualify leads is if they understand our value. And it always goes back to content, right? It always goes back to content because if they just view us as a commodity, right? $9 unit Botox, $99 semaglutide, of course, they're not going to be qualified because they don't understand your worth. You have more to give than the service, right? We increase revenue per guest, right? Then that's beneficial for if you're like us and paid off your machines in full. I don't know why we did that. We had to be profitable, right? and profit more. Yeah. And if we fix lack of traffic, I said this in the beginning, but I always like to lead with this one because just doubling traffic is one of the easiest things you can do. But we saw the lack of traffic, we double sales, right? If everything stayed the same, but we double traffic, we've doubled the sales. Client coordinators get more reps, or front desk staff, whatever you choose to call them, right? More reps, more repetition, which is why I repeat myself, right? Just hammers it in, right? Um, I'll give you an example, right? We meet with our client coordinators every single week. And at one point, I just asked them, I was like, hey, do you have any objections that you guys are currently experiencing while appointment setting? No, I don't. And then for a little while, I was like, okay, cool, let's just end the call. And then the light bulb came in. I was like, wait a minute. The objection is not booking the appointment. We're not talking about it. Let's keep on talking about it, right? In terms of this. And then, oh, we started to book a little bit more, right? Because we just acknowledged the fact and then we included repetition in that, right? But we weren't able to get that if client coordinators didn't have the reps,
Right.
right? And I already said this, if everything stayed the same, if you double traffic, you double the sales, right? So when we solve this four things, and I say that with an asterisk, I always believe that you can get better. There's nothing in absolutes, right? We're still striving to get better. You know, we generated $260,000 in 1 year. We're now closer to, or we're pushing past $300,000 a month, right? So we've created like quick fixes for all these four blockers. So these are the most effective ways that at least me, I found to rapidly scale your practice, right? So I'm going to scroll back here. Weak offers, remember, weak offers and pricing, poor converting funnel, bad sales system, lack of traffic are the four solutions. Value offer, right? So those are the components that we did yesterday. And today we'll show you how to expand on those things. As well as the second, the authority funnel. So this is where the pieces of content go into place or come into place. And in this 5-day challenge, we give you an intro of that. In the premium community, we expand more on that and give you the full solution. The consultative based selling, right? So we'll touch up on this here in this challenge. But the best way I could describe it is if you're doing most of the talking, it's a red flag. It's a red flag, right? A lot of the times we sell ourselves out of the sale by just talking too much. And this is a discretionary service. We want to find out what their problems are so we can find a custom solution for their problems. And when I say custom, we're not necessarily making anything new. We're just listening to them and circling it back to what we have to solve their problems. So it's perceived as custom. Does that make sense? We'll expand more on this if it doesn't, right? But that's a way we kind of build connections. If you guys remember, that's part of the 3 main C's of building a clinic. Which leads me to 4 is building connections. So the rule of 400 plus 50, which we'll get into. And people in the premium community are implementing this, and miraculously they're getting sales, right? When they didn't before, you know? And we'll get into that, right? So value offer. So everyone's pushing offers, right? Everyone's like, hey, what should we do? Botox, semaglutide, right? Those are great things, right? But factoring in you, like you're part of that offer, right? So the thing that I want to strive everyone to move away from is just focusing on the service face value. Because you have more to give. I've talked with 2 out of 3 people here on this call personally, so I know for a fact you have more to give, right? But I'm going to generalize this, I'm not singling anybody out, but we are just notorious for not communicating the journey that we walked, right? And stuff like that, right? So going back to value offer, right? Your unique way of doing things, your years of experience, your education, reviews in the community, right? Really, all this really means is like They just need to know your journey so you can increase your authority. Really, that's it. Because you know that just like 1% better at content is not just 1%, it's miles ahead of your competition. Does that make sense, guys? Right? Because you're here on this call. Not many people do the things that we've implemented here at our clinic, and we've received exponential results. Now they're trying to catch up. I see their ads and they're like trying to emulate this, but they're done because so we have 1,000 Google reviews and we spent the time, right? So I know sometimes like content seems like a mountain to climb, and that's fine. And almost that's like what I want, because if I'm not a sports guy, but I've heard the sports analogy. Training should be hard, so the game is easy, right? So content, you should be a little bit frustrated, creating content because it's you, right? You have a lot to give, and a lot of us want to be perfect. I wouldn't recommend it, right? I believe in quickness first, but it's miles ahead of the competition. Okay, I just want you guys to believe that. Just this, yeah. Sorry, there's stuff in the chat here. Let me just address this. Want to make sure. What if you're starting without a long background of education? Like if I get qualified, but I'm in the beginning stages of my practice, how can I sidetrack that? This is always an interesting question, right? Because when you're first getting started, you don't want to lie, right? And you don't have, especially if you don't have before and afters. So this is where I would hone in on a personal brand, even more so, right? Building your authority and building connections on a one-to-one level. Don't tell them, show them. Here's how I would do this. Here's how hey, busy moms of Colorado, here's how I would maintain buoyancy in the skin, blah, blah, blah. Right? Because again, everyone's just pushing an offer down their throat. And this is how this is quite frankly a cheat code, right? Because you guys already know the knowledge. It's just putting it out there into the ether, right? And when you use that as the ad, there's no way that they can compete with you, because all the other clinics are just promoting an offer race to the bottom. Yeah. You guys want to be more profitable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you do hone in, so someone have a question?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, cool. Am I sharing school, guys, before I continue? Just want to make sure. Yep. Okay. And expanding on this is how we decrease those marketing costs, right? Everyone's doing the same offers. I've already said this, you'll be a commodity. And yeah, I mean, if everyone's doing the same thing around you, it's typically, in terms of advertising, right? I'm talking about paid ads specifically. It's typically the advertiser with the biggest budget that wins. We're not that, right? Especially for the people that are just beginning. You want to make profits, reinvest back into it. So it's a compounding effect. So not only in the future will you have the content, you'll have the budget to destroy everybody. Sorry for the, you know what I mean? That's how I think. But yeah. So this is a recap from yesterday. So how do you do this? You complete the homework from yesterday. Brand activation, one of one offer, right? So if you don't know what that is, you can click this and then you'll be taken to those posts that'll walk you through it, right? Authority funnel. So using the authority funnel is the best way that I found, right, to nurture leads and pre-sell them on your services before you say the price, right? This is a true story. Like, and I say this a lot, so forgive me if you've heard this before, but I'm going to say it for the sake of the recording. I've worked with like literally hundreds of people in the medical aesthetic field. 9 times out of 10, they always tell me like, hey, once I get them into the clinic, I can sell them. Great. This should empower your content creation, because I'm not going to ask you to do anything new. I might ask you to tailor it for social, right? And have hooks, right? We were talking about that yesterday, Samuel. But I'm not going to ask you to do anything new per se. I'm just asking you to document what's already happening. Because if you really think about it, when you're in person, you're building those connections, right? Some people say their training, their schooling, their unique way of doing things. This is why, right? On a one-to-one level, we're building those connections. And on a micro scale in person, we're building our authority in person, right? So all the authority funnel is just removing you as the bottleneck, right? That should empower you. And this is how we scale, to remove you from the bottleneck and turn that one-to-one sale to one-to-many, right? And even if they don't consume all the content, of course, like, again, I believe in nothing is absolute, nothing is 100%. But the feeling that they should get when they come in, it is a lot more impactful. After they watch the content, they come in, you're more likely to convert them, right?
Right.
Because they're now emotionally invested. So we're just documenting what's already happening for social media, right? And also for your, website. And if you have any confirmation videos and stuff like that, it all comes into play, right? So for
Jordan.
more info on this, I've created a video of how not being on video is like literally not an option for people in our industry. Because again, this is a discretionary service. They do not need this. But the more connections we can build, the better we profit, right?
Real quick before you go to the next section, if I could ask, is there any recommended scripts or as far as, hey, this is the first thing you should educate on? Like, is there, I guess, any topics that we should focus on first as far as that authority?
Well, I like to put it like this. Well, let me future base this, and then I'll give you what I was about to say, Samuel. Can you guys see my school? Yeah. Okay. So I will give you the plan on like what you should create, right? Non-negotiable is a story post, top of funnel, and middle of funnel, right? But you asked specifically what types of content should you focus on, mainly for top. I'm assuming for top of funnel and middle funnel, separate of the story, because that's pretty self-explanatory. The best way that I can describe it is look at the exercise that we did in day one of addressing limiting beliefs, why someone would say no, and have ChatGPT help you formulate some ideas. So it could be a blocker for sales could be they don't move forward because of frozen face, right? I think I gave you this example, but could be, hey, here's here's 4 myths about frozen face that you should know before considering Botox. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Um,
So would it just very much be, hey, pick a topic, as you said, most concerning, and then really create something around that?
yeah, yeah. I would not necessarily overthink this portion of this, simply because, right, our first content framework, our hypothesis, could not be the one that converts, right? So we have to get into the practice of like, oh, this is a great idea. Let me execute on this. This is top of funnel. Let me move forward with this. Yeah. Um, Additionally to that, if you need anything specifically, Samuel, let me know personally, and I could maybe formulate like a framework
Sure.
for you personally. Right? That's the
Sure.
framework that I take, but it might not work for you. But let me know. Yeah.
If I could just ask again for clarification, as far as top of funnel, middle of funnel, is there like, I'm very new to this, so is there something specific you mean by that? As like, what exactly is top or middle of funnel?
Yeah. We will get to that.
Sure.
Let me tell you what the authority funnel framework is, because I do get into that.
Sure.
And then if you have more questions, we can expand on it. Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, cool. Um, consultative-based selling, right? If you're doing most of the talking, it's a red flag. I'm consulting for a national med spa franchise, and like first day, I straight up asked them like, "Hey, how do you guys, when you guys are outbound calling, what what's the process like, or what do you say?" And a lot of it was like, "Hey, this is this Mary? Hey, this is Ashley with X Med Spa. Saw that you were interested in semaglutide. Just wondering if when you had the availability to come in, right? How many times have we done that before, right? That's actually what, if you've ever like gotten the response of like, "I'm busy," or "Hey, don't call, I'm not interested," right? Even if they are, a lot of it is, hey, we started the relationship in a way where they perceive it as a sales scenario, right? So a lot of it deals with tonality, cadence, and not speaking as much. We'll go more into that, but those are the three main things, right? And what has been undefeated for us, an opener for us is just saying their name with an upwards tonality. Samuel, that's typically enough to break that psychological barrier and be like, "Who is calling me?" You know what I mean? That's all it takes, right? And then we're like, "Hey, Samuel, yeah, this is Jordan with X Med Spa. Your name came across my desk. I noticed that you were interested in semaglutide. Just curious, what about the ad caught your eye?" Right? Again, not a yes or no question. Now we're strategically moving the conversation forward. Does that make sense? Right? Because typically a lot of us lead with like a yes or no question. No. Okay. How do we recoup from that? Right? So there's a lot that goes into it. And when I say a lot, feel empowered that we're just asking questions. They're doing most of the talking. And that's what I try to tell our client coordinators. It's like, hey, feel empowered, because we're merely and ethically just seeing if this is even right for them. And again, you're not trained, so let's not consult them, right? But just see if this is right for them to come in, right? And then building connections, right? So I'll give you a context. When I was making this out for the community, I was like, this might be too much. But then I looked inward and I'm like, well, I hold my team to a way higher standard. So I'm going to do this, right? So building connections, rule of 400 plus 50, volume negates luck. For anyone, shiny object syndrome, do more of it, then do it better, then do something new. More, better, new. Yeah. So the top in the rule of 400 is 100 minutes of content per day, 100 messages, like outreaches per day, 100 comments per day, 100 a day on ads. Now the top can be mixed and matched, right? So technically you can spend $400 a day and call it good. Wouldn't recommend it, because all of this typically leads to building your brand, right? Building connections, getting inbound messages and inbound calls. So I would really strive to do a mixture of that, right? But if you do this, it's almost non-negotiable that you won't succeed, right? You will succeed. You know what I mean? By doing this work, right? Plus 50 calls. The 50 calls are non-negotiable, right? And for context, I posted this in the community. Recently we did, $300,000 in sales. We made 3,700 outbound calls, right? In a month. If we can do it, you can do 50, right? That's like 10 per hour. You know what I mean? And if anyone's like, hey, I don't have the time, I'm going to ask you to be like, all right, take out your iPhone, show me your screen time. If there's Netflix on there, I'm going to be like, you got the time. Yeah. All right. Roadmap. So 0 to 10K, if you're here, product market fit, right? We're testing out content frameworks. Again, this is a journey, right? And to really be the best clinic or practice in your area, we have to speak to our target audience on a psychographic level. We don't know what that is, right? We have a hypothesis, but if you are truly the offer, we need to come up with the best way of talking, the best like way of filming, right? That will resonate with our audience, right? Just to say, hey, I've created a video, put some paid ads on there, this doesn't work, is not enough. Because if someone else can do it, why not you? Right? 10 to 100K is leads, right? Hire client coordinators, 100K and above, you implement the robust stuff, right? We talk about GHL in the premium group, but for me, we didn't necessarily have those things when we were first scaling. What really propelled us forward is like the content and the framework and the foundation. So it's I always like to think about this kind of framework is increase the flow, then add the friction. Right? The flow is getting your hands dirty, right? And doubling traffic. And once you are profitable, once you have money coming in, then we implement friction. And what that means is these systems, like AI and stuff like that to help out. But if we don't have a solid foundation, those things won't help. Yeah. And then the model that we're building, right? This is what this is linearly. Traffic systems, authority funnel, booked appointments, value offer is how you scale, right? Any questions on the 4 blockers before we get into the authority funnel framework, which we'll talk about top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel pieces of content? No? Cool, we're flying. All right, let's get into it. So, authority funnel framework, right? What is it? It's a proven approach designed specifically for clinic owners, basically to position themselves as the go-to expert, right? So I like to say it like this. If your dream client, and those are the dream clients that we outlined in day 1, if they truthfully believe that you are the solution to achieve their aesthetic goals, then all objections become irrelevant and they must invest. Does it make sense? Right? So this is why I focus on the offer so hard, and you being part of the offer is because if they truthfully believe that on a personal level, then no one else can touch you, right? In terms of like your competition, because you are the only solution, because they understand the value, right? And that's the sole purpose of this, right? So I created this little diagram here, and this is for the people that are using Instagram as your primary, but this doesn't have to be Instagram, right? But we just tend to stay there because it's one of the easiest, right? So if we're truthfully using our Instagram page as our landing page, and if you can't see this, you'll probably have to download this when you guys go into school after this call. But if we're truthfully using Instagram page as our landing page, we're using top of funnel videos as our ad, right? To drive traffic back to that landing page, which is Instagram, right? And the reason why we continuously create content is we use those pieces of content to nurture them, right? In the marketing biz, right? There's a reason why, we have like a wall of testimonials for aesthetics. There's a reason why we have a wall of before and afters, like especially on Instagram. Do you think they read each one of those? Maybe, maybe not. But just to see that, right, is increasing your authority. Does that make sense? So this is something similar where they resonate with a piece of content. They go to your Instagram page. They see a wall of stuff. Maybe they watch a few of it, but just to see that you've been consistent is like, whoa, the other clinic doesn't do that. They're just doing like a stock image Botox thing and they're just posting it. Samuel's like here, right? And he's knowledgeable. I'm gonna go to him. Does that make sense? Right. So that's like top of funnel. And this is like introducing your dream client to you, right? So it's just teasing. And uh, for you specifically, Samuel, I was thinking about this. How I would guide you specifically is um, if you really want to get advanced with it, right? You can do what's called Google keyword research, right? So what we did for a plastic surgeon here in Denver was, didn't have any Google reviews, new practice owner. How can he compete? How can he compete? And for us, because he was, partnered with me, I'm like, let's build your authority, right? But let's do it in a way where we create a piece of content so we can enter into the conversation that's already being had in the minds of our dream clients. Does that make sense? So, for even more context, you guys can sign up for Google AdWords and Keyword Planner is free. And all we do is we can put our competitor's website in there and it can output keyword terms that people are searching for in our local area. It just so happened that rhinoplasty and plastic surgeon was highly searched for in Denver, Colorado. So the first top of funnel hypothesis that we did was here's 5 things you should ask your plastic surgeon before considering rhinoplasty. Does that make more sense, Samuel? I was thinking about you for this example. Oh, you're muted. Oh.
Yes, thank you. Again, it does make sense. And
Yep.
I'm just, again, trying to see what keywords exactly would fit best. And yeah, didn't even know about this. So I'm gonna have to do some research
Yeah.
and see what phrases come up. But of course, if you've got any lists or recommendations where to start, I'm all ears to just try something and of course figure out which direction to go from there.
Well, the direction would be to I'll create a video for you, but keyword research, here's what people are searching for in California, right?
Sure. So again,
And
like even with that, it's like what keywords they're searching for? Like, is it something like again you ask Chat GPT or hey on Google for Botox, filler, microneedling,
no, this would be
or is it phrases?
this would be the Google Keyword Planner. I think it will make more
Okay,
sense when I DM you personally, right?
sure.
But yeah, it's you would just use the Keyword Planner to find out what people are searching for in California, right? And then I'll
Okay,
show you the ChatGPT script here, but we would say, hey, still use this exact prompt that I'm going to show you here on today's call, but then add those keywords in. It's as simple as that. All
got
right.
it. Okay, sounds good. That makes sense.
Yeah. Any we'll stay on here. Any more questions before we move on? Just want to make sure you get the value, my man.
I would also recommend the Yelp keywords. Like there, they kind of show what's more trending in the area and what women and
Yeah.
people in the area are looking for service wise.
Yeah, those are great. Google Trends is another good one too. Right. If you're looking at really other things as well, the community pages that we talked about yesterday, just to see what people are talking about is another indicator. Does that make sense? Right. Circling back to the authority funnel, right? We use top of funnel to drive traffic to our Instagram page. And we can put them into what's called a remarketing audience to remarket to them middle of funnel pieces of content. So I'm going to architect the journey and we'll get more technical, especially in the premium group, right? But imagine this. They see an ad. Here's 4 things you should ask your plastic surgeon before considering rhinoplasty. The offer is book a consult, right? They don't book a consult. They're they're placed into a remarketing audience with a middle of funnel ad saying, here's when you can expect to go back to work after rhinoplasty surgery, because that's a blocker of him, the example I'm talking about, right? Middle of funnel. Place into another remarketing audience. And we can take it a lot further with bottom of funnel content by just simply asking, hey, you could even be direct. You'd be like, hey, we know you're interested. Don't you want to book a call? Don't you want to book a consult, right? So we can kind of lead that conversation based on the actions that they took. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. I'm just admitting some people here. Okay. So circling back to this, right? Our framework breaks down into 3 stages: top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel, right? So feel free to interrupt me, guys, because this allows me to get better as a communicator, right? So if you don't get what this is, let me know, and I'll try my best to say it in a different way, right? So top of funnel, the goal is to capture the attention of our dream clients, right? In this phase, your content should focus on introducing your expertise and addressing common concerns related to aesthetics, right? Short, engaging video posts should highlight the solutions, right? So it's all about drawing them in, right? So an example could be like, here's 4 questions to ask before getting Botox to ensure natural results, right? I'm circling this back into the exercise that we did in day 1, where one of the blockers was natural results, right? They didn't want to have a frozen look. So we are, quite frankly, in this simple phrase, here's 4 questions, which is a good hook, right? That you should ask before getting Botox. So now we're like positioning it as an authority, right? To take it even higher, I'd be like to ask before, here's 4 questions to ask your certified injector before getting Botox to ensure natural looking results. So even in this phrase, we can position ourselves as an authority. We can enter into the conversation that's already being had, right? And even at the end, this may say, to the looking eye, it's like, oh, this is great, right? But we've already done the exercise, especially in day 1 for the people that joined. One of the blockers in one of those exercises was they didn't move forward because they didn't want to look unnatural, right? So we've kind of addressed multiple different kind of elements, even in this hook. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. Hopefully this is getting more clear, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Soft CTA. Dia must glow to learn how you can look and feel your best, right? Or if we are truthfully using Instagram as our landing page, it could be, hey, if you like this and you want to know more information, just shoot us a follow and scroll through our past content. Because if you guys remember, rule of 400 plus 50 outreaches, right? And what's a lead? It's just someone that we can contact, right? Take a sip of water or coffee here because I've been talking. 1 sec.
So question, as far as then top of funnel, middle of funnel, should this still be the same video or again, different videos targeting different portions of
That's
ads and persons?
That's a great question. Different videos.
Okay.
Different videos. Yeah.
Is there a recommendation as far as, hey, this video should be 10 seconds long versus 30, 50 minute? Like, is there a sweet spot we should be shooting for?
Yeah. So with like top of funnel, middle of funnel, specifically reels and shorts and stuff like that, minute long max for long form. I shoot for 5 minutes, but if the subject is a little bit meatier, you can extend that. So for instance, like I'm working with like BHRT and stuff. So that is like, that educational sales piece is pretty long. Again, it depends on the service, but minute for like shorts and reels, or like long form for when you talk about your unique process, your unique mechanisms, max 5 minutes. right? Middle funnel, right? The goal, strengthen trust and credibility and address any limiting beliefs and why someone would say no, right? At this point, the potential patients know who you are, but now you need to show them why they should choose you. You've already did the digital hello. Now we need to get to know them. They need to get to know you. We're dating, right? We're dating at this point. This is where long form content like educational videos, case studies can come into play, but you still can use middle funnel pieces of content in the minute realm, right? All it really is addressing limiting beliefs and strengthening trust and credibility, right? The goal is to show how your treatments can solve specific concerns, right? We need to try our best to sell the vacation. Sell the vacation, right? So quick example that people typically get that I work with is like people don't necessarily want needles in their face. They want to turn back the hands of time. Right. So, but we tend to focus on the service a lot, right? But if we remember from yesterday, a potential right blocker or objection for someone new to Botox is that maybe they think it'll be painful, right? So just selling the vacation. Yeah. I'm going to fast track a little bit, guys, because we're 10 minutes. We just been having fun here. Bottom of funnel, close a deal, and even book appointments, right? So at this stage, people are considering it. Now it's your job to remove any last minute doubts, make them take the final step. It's like an ask, right? Especially in sales, some people just don't ask. So now we're just asking, right? So you did the digital hello, we've dated, let's get married. That makes sense? Yeah? Cool. So I'm going to expedite this because I want to leave room for Q&A. So here is your homework, right? We're going to create not just top of funnel content that sells, is we're going to create content that sells, and I'm going to help you. And I've already created the prompts for you. Create 3 pieces of content for you, right? Your story, top of funnel content, middle of funnel content. And with this one, with the exercises that I asked you guys to do, at least in my test, should be enough to just get these pieces of content out of the way without needing to do those keyword research that we talked about here in this call, just so you can maximize this challenge, right? So here's the prompt. Act as if you are a content marketer. I need to script out 3 videos. The first is a My Story post that is meant to be on Instagram, should be a minute long max. The second is a middle funnel, should say top of funnel piece of content that attracts people by leading with value, and it should be a minute max and optimized for Instagram. The third is a middle of funnel piece of content that addresses any limiting beliefs, why someone would say no, and it should be a minute max. The goal is to create an authority funnel where we use content to attract affluent clients with discretionary income and sell them on our medical aesthetic services before we even say the price. To get info on my story, because you guys already know, I said this in day 1, that the better that we can give context to our prompts, the better it is, right? So we say, in order to get info on my story and my high ticket transformation offers, I did 2 exercises where I conduct brand activation and I created my 1-of-1 transformation offer. So I'm merely asking you guys to copy the doc in its entirety and then paste it here for your brand activation and do the same thing for your 1-of-1. And that is your ChatGPT script.
Awesome.
Right? So again, people that don't take this challenge are missing out, right? And for the premium group, we're doing a little longer, right? So they're missing out. So this is why I said when you're doing the brand activation and one-of-one offer to really spend time, because that's the context that we'll use in ChatGPT. And the better that you've outlined every step, the better that you've outlined every reason why someone would say no, is the context that we are going to give, because you guys are the boots on the ground, right? ChatGPT doesn't know that. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are the boots on the ground in your local area. You're the best keyword research right now, right? Especially for this challenge. So if you believe, I'm just going to call it out. If you believe you half-assed it, I would go back, do it again, right? Because you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you just use this prompt.
Right.
Right. That's assume. And if you didn't half-ass it, go ahead and create the scripts and film it. Right. Right.
Cool.
Cool. Last minutes here. Any questions?
So, question with that in mind, as far as we're seeing the script or following, do you ever recommend saying your prices on
No.
these videos, or is it always, hey, come in for a consultation?
Just lead with value. Just lead with value, right? So when we get to the ads portion, you remember how I said there's a time and place for like the low ticket offers? You know what I mean? You can have just a lead with value video, have the offer in the written copy, right? So we can use these pieces of content for multiple things, right? And typically, I don't like to put any unless it's strategic, right? For the authority funnel, especially if you're first starting out, I don't like to put any prices here, especially in the beginning in your videos. Yeah, make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
For the 4 blockages, do you have like a metric dashboard or like a calculator that one could input the values in to see where they stand with each one?
I don't. Can you expand on that? Like what? Just trying to see like what where your mindset's at. Just want to see if it's valuable or not. Like,
I
if we,
think it would be really cool if you had like a dashboard where you have the 4 blockages, right? And then if there's like a metric dashboard where you can like input like the numbers based on those blockages that you've seen, and then a person can assess, oh, I'm at 70% on the first blockage, or I'm at like 64% at this blockage.
I'll be honest, I don't even know how to create that. In terms of like a formula for that. It's a great idea. But yeah, I don't even know how to do that. Yeah. What's up?
Can I help you with designing that like a
If you
dashboard?
want, yeah, that'd be a great, again, community. If you want to post that in the community, I'm sure everyone would appreciate it.
I'm just curious how you would assess the value of,
Yeah.
making certain tasks measurable. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great idea. Yeah. So just how do you measure it?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But if you can figure out, Rena, that'd be great for the community. So I'd be grateful.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, if there's any metrics that you would recommend associating with it, otherwise I can try to like fill in the gaps with what I.
Yeah. I think to me, it's like, are we booking enough appointments for our like semaglutide injectors to be busy? No. What's going on?
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Uh,
Got it.
yeah. So yeah. I don't know 100%, but if you can figure that out in terms of the weights, like Samuel was saying, great. I just don't even know how to tackle it.
Okay.
And another quick side question. I know a lot of ads and such are being focused on like Meta. What's your opinion as far as running ads on Google or Yelp or other platforms?
Yeah. We at our clinic, we did try Google ads, right? And it's not like we're new to Google ads. It was just more profitable for us to run social and do local SEO on Google. Right.
Got it.
Yeah. Which
So
you and I
SEO is priority number one, not really ads.
say that again.
So SEO is more priority for Google as an example. But
For
not really
us.
the ad portions.
Yeah, for us. And because you're in premium, we'll talk about that. But and I'll show you how we ranked like number one for like semi-glutide Denver, and it's easier than you think. Right. And we'll talk about ways on how you can steal away competition. Like a Hydrate IV just opened up next to us. So we're doing things to like siphon traffic without paid ads.
Got it.
Yeah. Cool. Any last questions before we end this call?
Oh, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, let the community know, like, you're missing out on these calls. Trying to make this one of
Yeah.
the best communities, right? So, yeah. And before we leave, Samuel, I see your message. I'll respond to you directly. Cool.
Sure.
Cool,
And
guys.
just again, side note again, like if you, I mentioned this last time, but again, just in case, if it's possible to create a folder or again, someplace where it's like really we can post or organize community posts, again, I still think that would be beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, like you can post here in the community. You just need to
Sure,
tell
sure.
me like a category that you want. So, like,
For sure.
if it's marketing, I'll,
That's right.
yeah,
Got it. Got it.
yeah. I could create the marketing category now, and if you have something to post, by all means, yeah. Right. Cool, guys. Hopefully you guys got some value. Tell your friends, post in the community. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Good.
See you guys.